Emergencies are unpredictable, but you don't have to be unprepared. Peak Alerts sends you targeted emergency alerts in real time for the places that matter to you most, so you know what's happening and what to do next. Know first, act fast. That's the power of Peak Alerts.
Good morning, crew. It is Thursday. It is February 19th. You're watching Peaks2Plains Weather, live mornings with Meister. I am Matt Meister here early this morning. And even before I came on, Marty jumped in and said, hey, I'm looking forward to hearing about the next couple of days. Thanks. Well, that's what we are going to be doing here, Marty. Thanks for starting off with us. If you'd like to join the show today, be on with me live, give a report about what's been happening weather-wise from where you are, hang out a little bit. You can always use these links. You just put them into the browser on your laptop computer, on your desktop, or on your phone, and you can join me there the same every day. So write them down, and I would love to have you on the show. That's what this is about. Peaks2Plains Weather is our weather together, and so in particular, when we've got active weather, it's you giving us reports about what's happening where you are. It's kind of crowdsourcing the weather. If you haven't downloaded the Peaks2Plains Weather app yet, you totally should, my friends. You can do it here by downloading the app. You can go to the website, peaks2plainsweather.com. You can search it in the App Store or Google Play if you're watching on a TV right now, on Roku or Fire TV, or you're watching on your desktop computer. You can just scan that QR code there with your phone, and that will allow you to download the Peaks2Plains Weather app. All right, let's talk a little bit of weather here early this morning, because as we get the day underway, we're kind of in between systems here. So we had a little cold front move through last night, had a skiff of snow over parts of El Paso County, or not El Paso County, excuse me, Elbert County. We talked about that a little bit yesterday. Had a couple snow squall warnings as the cold front with that system was moving across the mountains. We had one for Salida, actually had one issued for northwest El Paso County last evening. But that thing, as it was coming down the Rampart Range, just fell apart and really didn't do much in any neighborhoods. And you can see early this morning as we loop back through here that we are pretty quiet, at least in terms of clouds and precipitation, as that first system has gone off to the east. I have seen some wind gusts overnight up across the Rampart Range and the mountains off to the southwest of Pueblo, as has been the case here. But I will let you know, in between systems, it's been such an active week of weather that we do have avalanche warnings that continue through the day over Colorado's high country. Even though we're not getting any snow of significance in the mountains early this morning, you can see the avalanche warnings that do last through the day today. Crested Butte is, well, look at that. They got the snow blower out there. Crested Butte has had more than 2 feet of snow over the last few days. That's good news. Obviously, great news for skiers and snowpack. This has been one of the more active weeks here of the season. And so I do think that the skiing and the boarding this weekend at the ski resorts is going to be probably the best of the season if you want to head up there. Here's a look at Copper Mountain. They've also had more than 2 feet of snow over the last few days. And so some legit powder conditions on the way across Colorado's high country. A story for a lot of us along the eastern slopes overnight and early this morning has been the wind. Right now in Walsenburg, the wind is still sustained out of the west at 39 miles per hour, and it is gusting into the 40s still. As we wake up, the wind is stronger over the eastern slopes southwest of Pueblo than what we've got up against the Rampart Range. We've seen about the last 2 or 3 hours the wind gusts that were a little bit stronger overnight pull back a little bit. I-25 and the Air Force Academy this morning at the Air Force Academy Airfield reporting 26 degrees and the wind out of the northwest at 14 right now. And so you can see those stronger gusts there getting up to 50 now in Walsenburg, stronger off across the mountains to the southwest of Pueblo, like I said, than in the Pikes Peak region now. And you can also see a north wind over the eastern plains that is associated with the weather behind the front that's been moving south across the plains early this morning. So Banjo's barometer for today, is it going to be nice or not? Compared to some of the other days we've had this week, a little bit better. Banjo is going with a 7. He's going to expect a longer walk out there today, even though we do still have some weather concerns to take care of here. So that's kind of how we've gotten to this morning, kind of where we are, and an early look at what is happening here early this morning. Jones checking in, and she says, yeah, the wind kept me up most of the night. Again, yeah, it's been that kind of week, hasn't it? Joan, that's right. And then Marty's checking in and says, hey, we've had maybe 1 inch in Kuchara last night, which is awesome news. In the mountain areas, we do want, the snow that we can get and that we've had this week. And Ann says, good morning to Matt and Banjo. Banjo's not up yet. He's not at Peaks2Plains Weather as of yet, but that will change. I know he gets up over the next half hour usually, and then he joins me. I forgot Banjo's buddies yesterday, so I don't want to forget that today. And so I'll do that real quick right now so that I make sure I don't forget it. And I love this one. Lisa sent this in and said, this is the album cover for the band. Look at there's 2 of them that are howling, and the other 2 are like, what are you doing? If you'd like to submit Banjo's buddies, you can do that in the Peaks2Plains Weather app. In the bottom right-hand corner of the app, there is a Send to Matt feature. You can do that, and Banjo's buddies, something that I am going to be doing every day. Okay, I'm going to head over to the weather wall now, and we are going to talk about our kind of short-term forecast here, because we do have a couple more days of some active weather before things change up a little bit here, heading through the weekend into the early part of next week. So I'm going to go over to the weather wall, and we're going to talk about being in between systems today. You can see the system from last night, a little kink in the flow here, little circulation now off to the east. We are getting some snow up across parts of Nebraska early this morning. And this little jet streak here that is the cause of some of the wind that we're still getting around Walsenburg early this morning is on the way out of here. And so we'll continue to see that relax. But that doesn't mean we're done with the wind today. It's just not going to be as strong as what we've had some other days, because you can see our next and final system of the week here coming into California. It does have a jet streak with it. It's mainly going to stay off to our south. I think precipitation and some chillier air is going to be the story with that one. So, we've got this cold front that's moving south across the plains this morning. We've got the north wind with that. We'll keep the north wind for a few hours here, in particular out east of the interstate, and then we'll see that relax a little bit. The story through the day today in terms of impactful weather will be wind coming down the slopes like it's been for most of the week, with some occasional gusts back in here between 40 and 50 miles per hour. I stopped the sustained wind speed forecast here at 3 o'clock to show you some of that. Not the windiest day of the week here, but the downslope is still an issue. It's still drying the air out. In fact, we've got some of the driest air of the week overhead today, and so we do still have fire weather concerns, no doubt about that, especially from Canyon City into the southern parts of El Paso County, where we're going to get some gap wind coming out of Bighorn Canyon, kind of curling around Pikes Peak on Highway 115. You'll notice that across the Fort Carson area. West side of Pueblo and Pueblo West, we may catch some of that from time to time, Florence, Penrose, and then certainly down along the eastern slopes here, the southern I-25 corridor, and Kim, we might catch some of that as well. So these are the areas where we'll have the best combination of wind gusts and humidity that increase the fire danger a little bit. Doesn't mean we don't have fire danger in other areas. It's just where these are kind of on the edge of a critical threshold. And so a red flag warning is in effect through the day today until 7 o'clock tonight. We're pretty dry, like I said, but there is enough instability that there could be a rogue snow shower or 2 up across the mountain areas. And this version of Skycast has been real consistent about picking up a snow shower with a little pocket of instability later on today off to the northeast of Colorado Springs, maybe eastern El Paso County, around Matheson, where we had that fire earlier in the week. It's been in enough runs that I'm not going to discount it. I can't guarantee it. It's not going to be a big deal if it does develop. Then we start to head into the overnight here. We're still pretty quiet weather-wise ahead of our next system. So today is sort of the day, at least in terms of snow, for the mountains to do some cleanup and to get ready for the next system coming in. High temps today will be chilly. We'll be mainly in the 40s for southern Colorado east of the mountains, with 20s and 30s in the high country. Temperatures have kind of been coming down all week long from the near record warmth that we had earlier in the week. And tomorrow morning will be no exception, as we're in the teens teens for a lot of areas, maybe even some single digits up across the Palmer Divide, and some single digits here and there for the mountain areas as well. In contrast, look at the western slope where we'll be in the low 20s overnight. I know that's not that much warmer than the teens, but it is a sign that that next system starts to come in. And that next system does pull the numbers back even a little bit more as we move into Friday. Friday is going to bring our best chance of some moisture here east of the mountains. So again, Thursday looking pretty quiet here. We move into the late afternoon, we start to see clouds increase, and then as we move through the overnight, here comes our next system. And this is one more batch of snow for the ski resorts, which again is why I think this weekend is going to be some of the best skiing for the high country all season long. I mean, you want to get into the trees and stuff this weekend. I think it is the weekend to do that. So the snow picks up first over the southern mountains, spreads up across the northern mountains, and as we move through the day tomorrow, we'll have a chance of scattered snow showers up and down the interstate and out across the eastern plains. It'll be a real wet snow down here across southern Colorado that probably isn't going to stick unless you're under a little burst of snow that quickly whitens up the grass. But you get a little bit closer to the higher terrain, certainly over the mountains southwest of Pueblo, there is some potential for accumulation here with this last wave that as we move into Friday night, starts to get out of here. Snow hangs out up over the Continental Divide into early Saturday morning, and then after the sun comes up, even that is out of here. So a much quieter weekend on the way. So let's talk some snow amounts here. And I'm going to focus on our local mountain communities and the Pikes Peak region. There may be some areas down here on the Sangre de Cristos around the Spanish Peaks where we pick up 2 to 6 inches. It's probably up high. So somebody like Cuchara, you might get maybe 1 to 4 inches, something like that. And there is the chance of an inch or two on the slopes of Pikes Peak. It's not a guarantee because, again, it's going to be scattered. So kind of wrap your head around thunderstorms in the summertime. One neighborhood gets it, one neighborhood doesn't, and you're kind of on the right track there. And I can't rule out some light accumulations over the higher terrain of in and around Colorado Springs as well. Again, that's not a guarantee, but it is certainly a possibility here. Pueblo not going to catch any of that. Wet Mountain Valley might catch a couple inches of snow, and again, some spotty light accumulations possible out across the eastern plains. For the I-70 resorts, it's another 3 to 6 inches or so. That's good news given what we've had this week. Snowmass, Aspen, Crested Butte, it could be a little bit more than that, perhaps between 8 and 12 inches of snow. Wolf Creek might get over a foot with this next batch, and we might near a foot over Silverton and Telluride. The southern mountains have done really, really good this week. We're over 30 inches of snow for Wolf Creek, and that certainly is good news here. Let's talk extended forecast, because it's going to take a while to warm up over the weekend. We get into early next week here, and we do have some warmer weather on the way. I'll talk more about the extended pattern here coming up in just a little bit, because our weather next week looks a lot different than what we've had around here this week. All right, let's see some of your comments here early this morning. Anna is checking in, says we appreciate all you do. Thanks for letting us know when the weather will happen. Anna, you are very, very welcome. If you haven't been to Peaks2Plains Weather.com this week, things are different here than what I had last week on the website. In this way, I have added a weather command center that has interactive weather now on this part of the website. So you can go in here. It's a lot like the functionality of the app where you can put your location in, you can drill down, you can zoom in here on the map, you can go back in time, you can look into the future. So I've switched to the future down here, and now I can go forward. I can zoom out and watch our next system come in here from the west if I want to do that. So, I mean, this is weather at your fingertips. This is what this is all about here. You can dive in here and see my detailed forecast about what I'm expecting for the area. So again, trying to bring you all of the best weather tools wherever you want it, whether it's on the web browser, Peaks2PlainsWeather.com. My app, of course, I think is the best place for me to be able to take care of you. I'm giving alerts about those snow squall warnings last night and everything. And you can use that when you're traveling as well. You know, like if I'm going to Indiana in a couple weeks to see my son in college, and it does have the forecast for there. I'm not tweaking the information like I am here on the local level, but I do want to make you aware of that. Emily is heading to Park City, Utah this weekend. Will it be snowy? Well, Emily, they're going to get that same weather system here overnight tonight, that they'll have some fresh snow for you, but I think over the weekend it's probably quiet there. But good on you for going to Park City. I am jealous. Color me jealous. All right, let's do the extended forecast here, and we'll talk a little bit about the pattern change that is on the way. And here's what we've got into next week. Like I said, it's kind of different than this week. So we've been sitting in this bigger, kind of larger scale, long wave trough here. And as we move through the weekend, it really changes up after tomorrow's system moves through. So you see the kink with that getting out of here. Emily, there's a ridge of high pressure over Utah for the weekend, so you'll have some great skiing conditions. Skiing conditions will be great in Colorado as well. We move into next week and that ridge starts to break down a little bit. It's going to take a couple days. On Monday, see how the ridge axis, kind of the peak of the bump in the lines is kind of sitting right over us? That screams mountain wave clouds to me as we move Monday into Tuesday. That is kind of a classic sort of pattern. And we start to break the ridge down and we bring a weather system in over the top of the ridge, helping to break it down as we move into late Tuesday into Wednesday. And so you see that brighter orange there just up to our north, a little jet streak there. That could bring some wind to the area along the mountains west of Denver, and is a pretty good setup for some wind perhaps over the Rampart Range as we move into late Tuesday. And that system's probably going to bring some snow to the mountain areas here and keeps us in some northwest flow as we head through the rest of next week, although it looks like the jet stream's far enough away that we may not have much in the active way of weather. So let me take you to Monday. Okay, we're watching for the ridge to break down and that system coming in from the northwest. So you see mountain wave clouds here developing. Like I told you, that was a classic pattern, so it's not a surprise to see the models picking up on that. Those are high-level clouds that, indicate some mild weather. Also are a sign sometimes of some wind. So we talked about we'll watch a window next week for some gusty wind along the Rampart Range and up in the foothills west of Denver. But as that system comes overhead, looks like our mountains will get some more snow as that system passes. Right now, we're not picking up anything too exciting east of the mountains, but it's far enough away that we'll watch for it. I don't have anything in my extended forecast of note for the cities right now, but it's something that we'll watch. So the extended forecast here for Keystone, I do have snow in for the mountain areas again as we move into next week. It's probably going to come with a little bit of wind as well, but we'll be ready for a refresher of snow. And in that pattern, it'll be more the central and northern mountains compared to the southern mountains of Colorado. I think we get some of our warmer days here as we move into early next week along the Front Range. For now, I'm bringing the temperatures down some behind that system, not getting too crazy with it, and I don't really have a chance of snow in the forecast as of yet. But when you download the Peaks2Plains Weather app, when I put it in there, I'll let you know about that, and I'll give you a heads up. So go ahead and download the app yet if you haven't, and please share it with your friends. I keep seeing the growth of Peaks2Plains Weather here, and that is good to see. My friends, lots of you saying hello this morning. Thank you very much. Teresa says thanks for that forecast. Or Emily says thanks for that forecast for Park City. And Teresa says good morning as well. I've got some things to do today, so I'm going to wrap it up earlier than I have been this week. But again, we do have some fire weather concerns, so be aware of that. And as we move into Friday, we get at least our chance of snow locally. You can check out the forecast anytime you'd like on the Peaks2Plains Weather app. My friends, have a great day. I'm going to leave you with a commercial real quick, and then we'll get to our spot getting out of here. I do have one more thing I want to let you know, so stay tuned here.
Another attorney commercial with big promises? Millions of dollars, practicing law 24 hours a day, blah, blah, blah. Let's get rid of the smoke and mirrors. None of that really matters. What does matter? Having a medical doctor as your attorney. That matters.
I am excited today to head down to Crowley County And I am heading to the pumpkin game, which is the Tomke family has been putting on for a long time. Going to finally get to meet my buddy John Tomke. He and I have been texting for a long time. This will be my third night in a row of attending high school basketball games. Last night I was up in Parker for Parker Lutheran's basketball game. My niece is a senior up there, and so I got to see her senior night. They played the Cadets from Air Force Academy. It was a really, really good game. Of course, the Cadets have Kinley Asp, who is going to play basketball at Boston College, and she had about 16 points, I think, last night. Hit a couple big threes to try to keep her team in it. Parker took that one down. Night before, I was at TCA. I do PA for them when I have an opportunity to do that, but I'm really excited to head down to Crowley County tonight for the pumpkin game. So I hope you have some fun things to do today. I'll keep you up to date here. Going to do some forecast updates over the next little bit. I'll push some things in the app. I'll push some things to YouTube. I'll push some things to social media as well. That's Mornings with Meister for this Thursday morning, February 19th. My friends, have a good day. Thanks for watching.